Good evening, my name is Carolyn. I'm a Thermomix consultant here in Melbourne and welcome into my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how I make my version of a chunky vegetable bolognese sauce in the Thermomix TM7. So I have my ingredients ready and I'm going to try to cook this for you in real time. Now, while I'm waiting for a few other people to join, I'm just going to let you know on a couple of things that are going on right now, some of the promotions that we have going right now for Thermomix. For those of you who are already accustomed and you know about Thermomix, perhaps you have a Thermomix already, there is a trade-up offer available to you. So if you have a TM31, a TM5 or a TM6, you can take the opportunity to trade in or return your old Thermomix and get the brand spanking new TM7 model, right? Now, they give you various cashbacks, right? The maximum cashback is $750, so that if you have a TM6, for example, the cashback on that is $750, so that means you'll be paying $18.99 for it. If you have a TM5, the cashback is $450 and you'll be paying $21.99. If you have a TM31, the cashback is $250, you'd be paying $23.99. And there are various payment options available, including Afterpay, Hum, Zip Money, and one single payment, no direct debit business, all right? Now, if you are thinking long and hard about that, please let me know, because you have till the 17th of November to take up on that offer. And the lead time for getting a Thermomix now is maximum 2 weeks, right? So it's a very quick turnaround time. And with your TM7, you get, this unit, you get your spatula, the simmering basket here, which we use to boil eggs, make rice-based dishes, and lots of other uses, and the whisk, of course, and this Verona dish here that we use to do layered cooking in our Thermomix. So that is the deal. Of course, now you could always sell your Thermomix privately, which, that's totally up to you. So, but this is what the offer is all about. So if you do want to trade up, you need to do that through your consultant. And if you don't have a consultant and are looking for one, you're more than welcome to connect with me, and I'm happy to help you out there. So you've got to connect with me and tell me that you're interested so that I can actually get the process happening for you. And I do have a couple of TM6 boxes that I have in storage, so if you're planning on returning your Thermomix, I can give you those as well, so you don't have to go searching for one. All right, so what's the big deal? What's the big deal about making the bolognese sauce in the Thermomix? Now, I know people have mixed reviews about doing it in the Thermomix, but there are many benefits. Predominantly here, we're using just the one bowl to do everything. But today I'm going to show you how I'm going to use both the browning mode and the open cooking mode to make such a classic dish without a recipe, and just you doing it off the top of your head. And if you follow what I'm doing now, you'll be 100% right. Now, the first thing we do is have a think about the ingredients that you put in when you make a bolognese sauce, right? So we start off, say, with our onions. So I have about 1.5 or so onions here. So what I can do is I can go here into my manual mode and I can weigh them in, just so that you know how much I'm putting in. So I bring up my scales here, and the screen will be flipped a little bit here, so I do apologise because I'm working on this solo here today. I'm just videoing myself. All right, so I'm going to weigh these in. All right, so what have we got? 200 grams there of onions. Okay, that's a good amount. I have 4 garlic cloves in. Okay, then need to chop these. Okay, so to chop, the lid goes straight back on, and then I can pick up the speed dial here and just say for I might go for 4 seconds only, and the speed will be speed 5, so I can jump to that. I do want it fine, and all I have to do here is just press play and it will chop it for me. All right, now it locks, when it goes above speed 2, the lid automatically locks, and once it's finished, it unlocks, and then I can go in there and have a look for myself and see what I reckon. So there are my onions all chopped for me. Now, if I want to go 1 second more, I can, and I might just do that, just to give it a little bit more of an opportunity here to chop some of the bits that have flung to the side. Gotta love onions. All right, so the lid will go on. I'm going to just do this for 1 more second. And again, this is all very, you just learn as you use your Thermomix, right? The more you use it, the more confident you will be. This way. So 1 second, speed 5. That's it. Now I'm going to add the oil of choice. So I want to fry the onion and garlic, okay? So I'm going to bring up my scales again, and this is just for your benefit so you can see how much I actually put in. I just should show you the onions. There are the onions, so they're a little bit finer. I'm going to push those down first, always going in a clockwise motion when you're using your spatula. It's clockwise, and then that way you won't tear that up too much. Okay, let's weigh this in now. I have avocado oil here, and this is just a rough guesstimate. I'm kind of like looking in as yeah, that's a good coverage. Okay, that's about 24-ish grams, maybe 25 grams. Okay, in perfect. Okay, so have my onions and 200 grams of onions that I've just chopped, along with my 4 garlic cloves. I'm going to cook this off. Now, I'm doing the cheats method. I'm going to get out of the manual mode. I'm going straight into the browning mode, which is the new mode on the TM7. And what I'm going to do here is just go to the timer here and do the quick 2-minute sesh here, and click on this little menu part, and I'm clicking on intense mode. And all I do now, all I have to do is press play. Now, it'll go from this cool temperature, which is, you know, just room temperature. So you can see there's a faint green line behind here. As the Thermomix starts to heat up, it will go hotter. So it'll change from the amber to a red color when it's reached to above 60 degrees. So with the browning mode, you can actually select temperatures between 140 degrees to 160, and you can choose your intensity, either intense or gentle on that cycle. So that has a lot of possibilities there with your cooking. So if you just want to, say saute onions, but you don't want them too brown too quickly, then you can bring the temperature down and just get it to cook it slowly, say at 140 degrees, and you just monitor it. With the browning mode, what I have noticed too is that it's very silent. So right now you can't hear anything. I can barely hear anything here on my end. I can hear a little sizzling going on. So I know it's definitely working and it's definitely on. Every now and then I'll hear the blades rotating, which is about now. They rotate clockwise and sometimes they pause and they go anti-clockwise. And it's kind of like mimicking what you would do on a stovetop, okay? So if you were to saute your onions on a fry pan, you would be doing this with your spatula and mixing them about. So it's just basically copying the same thing as you would do on a stovetop. Now, if you're joining me here at the moment on this live, you're more than welcome to say g'day and tell me where you are joining in from. This live video will stay kind of live for about 30 days if I post it to the Facebook page. they don't stay permanently on these days. All right, so now it's had a really good go. You can see all the steam coming out there. It's had a good go of sauteing for 2 minutes. That's all I need it to be at this point. I'm going to leave it in there and I'm going to get my mince meat, okay? Now, I am going to be a little bit adventurous here and put in this whole amount that I have here, which is, let's just have a look. As I put this beef mince in, I'm going to roughly break it apart as I pop it in, okay, just so that they're not too chunky. Okay, so I think I have around 900 grams and it's probably a 3-star. It's a 3-star mince, I think, from Costco. Okay, so there's a bit of fat on this one. All right, now I am risking this a little bit by doing this kind of quantity, but being realistic, this is actually what I do normally. So I'm going to just probably put in black pepper at this point. That's it, nothing else just yet. Just that for now, because I'll tell you why in a moment. All right, so that's that. I'm going to give it probably, I'll let it go for the 10 minutes. Oh, actually, hold up, start again. I'm going to put it on the intense for 10 minutes, but that's just so that the mode doesn't, I don't have to keep resetting the time on that. So I've got 900 grams or so of beef mince in there. And because that is quite a good amount in there, I'm going to have to help it out a little bit. I'm going to help it out with my spatula every say couple of minutes. Now, if you have any questions about this process, please let me know in the chat. And this is just real life cooking, how I go about cooking in my kitchen. Okay, so then I have my spaghetti that I've pre-made. I just did that on the stovetop normal. And I've kept it in my thermoserver over here to stay warm. So it's in here. And I'm just using my Thermomix for the things that are harder, if you like. So, excuse me. So, yeah. Is this something that you would do in your Thermomix? Let me know. Is Bolognese something that you want to try? Let me know in the chat. Now, also with this browning mode, I can actually lift up the lid at any time. Okay, so I can go in there and do some manual stirring and assisting at any point, which is great. And we no longer have the arms here to get in the way. All right, no more arm cleaning and worrying about any of that. You'll see here at the top of this image, there's actually an unlock symbol. That means the lid is unlocked, which means I can lift the lid up, it will pause. I can go in here and just try to get a good mix in. So now what I'm trying to do is get the onions that are sitting down the bottom to get closer to the top and let all of that mince kind of, because I have got in quite a lot in here. I'd probably recommend 700 grams, probably tops, doing it this way. But I'd never follow anything, so that's the way I operate. Just do what I want with my thermo. So you'll have to wait a little bit for this. So this is real-time cooking. Now, you'll see the simmering basket that comes with the TM7 is a little different. You can actually, with your spatula, lift it up with this little, there's a little gap in here. You can lift it that way to get it out safely. And then also you use the hook part of your spatula, you hook it into here when you're trying to get hot food out of your Thermomix bowl. So keep that in mind and make sure that you, if you don't know how to do that, to let me know, because it's important to, you know, be as safe as you can when you're using these accessories. All right, so remember I set the time here at the start for 10 minutes, okay? So 10 minutes for cooking that 900 grams of beef mince. So I've still got a bit to go. And look, it'll definitely cook a lot faster if you've got less in there, all right? But I'm feeding a few more people in my household. So I'm choosing at this point to leave the cap on because I do want to retain as much of the heat as possible. So that's something to think about too. When should you use the cap, all right? When you're trying to retain heat, that's when you use it. When you're trying to, if you're making, say, a basic stir fry using this mode and you want some of that steam to come out, then you remove the cap. So that's important to know. So you may not realize, but you on the previous model, on the TM6 model, you have the high heat function, but it's only available to you through a guided recipe. So you have to have the Cookadoo subscription, right, to pick up the recipe that has the high heat recipe, or the high heat step in it. Okay, say for example, there's the broccoli saute recipe, the chili garlic prawns recipe that's a quick one where you can bring up the high heat component, and several others like the Sanjiao Bao and that sort of thing. The difference though is that you don't have the capability of the temperature controls. So it's a straight going up to sort of like 160 degrees. You can make some time adjustments, but it's a little bit more finicky. Here, it's with this mode because we can get the browning mode on demand because it's a separate mode. It's less susceptible to weight issues. You know, when you're weighing things in, you've got a lot more freedom here. I'm doing a lot of talking and less mixing. All right, so I'm going to do another quick mix. And it makes sense to do this, remember, because a lot of the heat is more towards the base of the bowl. So that's why I'm doing it this way, just giving it a bit of a helping hand while I can. Okay. You'll have to excuse any background noise as my daughter's band has decided they're going to play the drums. Oh dear, what can you do? Now, do you have any questions while you are here in the chat? Let me know. When the mode is going, you can sort of do some scrolling. So you can go out there and have a look at your other modes. And you can go here into the home screen, you can kind of see other recipes, but you can't start another recipe whilst you're in the middle of the browning mode, of course. With each mode, there is a show tips button here on the top right corner. And when you click on that, it gives you tips about how to use this mode. So with the browning mode, you do need to add some sort of a fat in there to make the whole process work well. And that's quite logical. And it tells you here. So it says, place 20 grams of oil. Okay, and it also mentions how you should cut the certain vegetables to make it work. But I have found too that as you use it more often, you'll become better at gauging times and so on and so forth. All right, it's quite hot, isn't it? Now it's coming to a pretty good sizzle. Still a little bit red in some spots, so I'm going to let it go a bit further. So remember to, with the browning mode, it's resuming again. As soon as I put the lid on, it restarts again. That the blade will rotate sometimes anti-clockwise, then it will pause, then it might go clockwise, and I can hear it doing a very big sizzling boil, if you like. Remember, it's going up to 160 degrees, so it's quite hot. And the other thing too is, of course, the very big difference is that the bowl on the outside here is just warm. It's not, it's safe to touch. So if you have little children around in the kitchen and they touch this, they're not going to get burnt. In this position as well, the Thermomix is not locked, so the lid is not locked. And you can see the little symbol there. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are on it. I've been using the browning mode for various things, obviously for making very quick stir fries. I've been able to make a stir fry in under 10 minutes, depending on what it is, with chicken and vegetables. I can get that done pretty quickly. So now I heard about, we've got an Italian friend who informed me today that you don't put vegetables with bolognese, all right? Apparently that's a thing, but you know, I'm trying to get as many veggies in as possible. And the plan was to include some cubed zucchini here, much to the children's excitement. They don't like it, but I like to get the bit of the extra veggies in. And I was going to show you too, just putting in one carrot that is kind of small, kind of cut in quarters, if you like, cut in quarters and sliced. Same with, this is just like a quartered piece, right? So yeah, chunky-ish, all right? So that's the deal. Now, apparently the Italians don't like, they don't do this. This is not the real deal, okay? So I'm apologizing in advance for all of the Italians about that, but we'll just do it my way for tonight. All right, we're down to the last little bit and it's actually cooked. Okay, so we have got 42 seconds left and I can actually see in here that this is all cooked through. And even if there's a fraction left, I think it's going to be just fine. It's actually quite, it's done. Now, I've got to just maneuver a couple of little things because I'll show you what I want to do. I do want to drain some of the excess fat that's in there. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of gymnastics in this kitchen. Hold up while I figure out how I'm going to do this. Okay, so I'm going to drain it, okay, because I don't want this excess fat going into the main meal here. So I'll just try and get as much of it as I can out. And you can see as I'm doing this that it's all cooked through. And that's also why I didn't want to add any of the spices just yet at this point, because I knew that I was going to be doing this. Remember, I'm using a 3-star mince, so there's a lot of fat in there. And by doing it this way, there's less calories. Some of you might be concerned about that, you might not be, but each to their own. I'd rather sort of more of the flavors to come from the sauces and the other spices that we use. Now, of course, if you're using a leaner mince, cut of mince, then that's fine. You can, you don't have to do this step, but I'm just letting you know, this is what I do. So here, I've got, say, half the bowl. That's, yeah, so it's roughly half the bowl. Remember, I've got an onion in there, and I've got garlic, and I've got 900 grams of mince. I've drained the fat out, which was that amount. So I'm going to get rid of that. And now I'm going to add my spices and so on in it right now. So let's have a look at what I'm going to put in. Okay, the black pepper, I know I already put some before, but I just drained some of that out. So about a teaspoon in. I'm going in with the oregano, a good tablespoon, and we can tweak all of this at the end. I do like to put a little bit of cinnamon, so I'm going for about a teaspoon in there, very accurate, and of course a little bit of table sugar. Okay, that's a teaspoon. Okay, that's a teaspoon in there. All right, and then now for this demonstration, I'm going to be using passata, just straight passata. Now, normally I actually use two diced canned tomato cans, but I was told by an Italian to use this, so this is what we're doing. All right, now you can get the rest of that out with a little bit of liquid, but I don't have an assistant here. See you later, daughter. Bye-bye. All right, got everyone's leaving. All right, so we've got that going. Oh, actually, while this is going on, I'm going to actually swap out into open cooking mode. Oops, get the modes out. Open cooking, where you are there, and just let it continue to cook whilst we're doing this. So 15 minutes, blah, 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 100 degrees set temperature. Okay, so resume cooking whilst I'm adding in my ingredients. So I'm going to put in some Lego paste in here. So if you want to know how much I'm putting in while this is cooking, again, this is all very subjective as to how much you put in. In fact, I would just put the whole lot in, which is the 120 gram. There's no point keeping some of this behind. Now I'm just going to give that without touching. A little bit of a stir while with that spoon. Okay, what else am I missing? I think I need to put something else in here. I do like to put in a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Now this is so not Italian, but this is my recipe tonight, all right? Okay, so I'm putting in a little bit of my homemade sauce. It's a Sully Wise version, and a little bit, maybe a tablespoon in just for now. Now, the reason why I'm not putting in salt just yet, because I have the Lego paste in there that has got a bit of a salt content in it. So I'll just make an assessment as this kind of cooks off. I'm going to drop the temperature back to 95 because it's bubbling away like crazy. And now I have approximately a good amount in here, but I think I'm only going to fit in half of this. And those carrots have got to go in. And I think too, it's just important when you're doing a dish like this to kind of look at the liquid to see if you do need liquid in there. And this is probably when I would actually get the hot water going. So I'm going to pop the lid on. I didn't put all of those in. The zucchinis in because I think it was getting a bit too much. So I can get the kettle, just get the kettle going for a fraction, get it hot, and I'll put a little bit of water in there, or I can put a bit of water in here, which is another idea. Okay, so I've just put a bit of water back in here, just straight from the tap, because it's looking quite thick in here, so I kind of, I want to thin it out a bit. And just give it time to simmer. That won't be enough. And at the same time, I want to make sure all the vegetables are inside and down in with that sauce, okay? So, it's looking good. I might add the rest in. I think, because it's going to take a little bit to kind of cook those veggies to get them, they'll probably need 10 minutes. All right, so that's kind of the process of how I go about doing it. Now, you can do a quick test for flavours, even though it's kind of not hot. Yep, okay, so just in that, with tasting it just like that, even though it's semi-cool, everything's nearly right, but it needs the stock paste. So I'm going to choose to put in the beef stock paste, which is a Thermomix recipe that you can get on Cookadoo. And it's basically, it's red meat with lots of salt, onions and garlic and that sort of thing. and this is your seasoning. So you use this beef stock paste for any red meat based dishes that you're trying to do. So I'm going to put in, okay, 1 tablespoon for now, and then I'll stir, and then I'll see if I need the rest. It's always better to less is more situation first, because it's harder to sort of, if you put too much salt, then it can be a little bit tricky to adjust that. So with open cooking mode, the temperature, I can set the temperature up to 100 degrees, okay, which I can go back up to there. And I need to manually stir because the blade remains stationary. So that's a very big difference. That's the first time in Thermomix history that we've been able to not have a blade moving at all. Right? Normally when you're making a bolognese sauce, the blade is always either like in reverse, going slow. Whereas here, I can manually stir it. Now, if you don't want to manually stir it, you can get out of this mode and go into manual mode and put your blade in reverse, spoon speed, whatever. Now, because it's bubbling up a bit, I know it's getting up to temperature, I'm going to pop the lid on so we can get really hot for me there. Let me know if you have any questions as I go about doing this recipe. We're nearly there. It's just a matter of me checking now whether or not I'm happy with the seasoning, and that will be my dinner done. Now, if I had have used less meat, less of the mince, then perhaps I could have added the rest of those vegetables in, but I think we're getting up to the 2 litre mark, so I like to sort of play it a little bit safe there. Nothing will go waste anyway. Actually, I've got some other ideas too. So if you're looking for a lower carb kind of option so if you don't want to do pasta, you can do zucchini zoodles, right, as well. So in replacement of your normal carby, starchy pasta, you can make zoodles, all right? Again, it's not very Italian. It's not authentic, but it is what it is. And if you want to get your veggies in, then that's a great way of introducing them. Also, there's this brand that you can get from most supermarkets called Slendia, and it's a low carb, low calorie / keto, gluten-free, etc. It's a natural cognac pasta. It's plant-based, vegan, etc. And it says here 11 calories, less than 1 gram of carbs per serve. And I think that if you were going easy on the carbs, you could probably split this in 2. So, you know, even this whole portion might be too much of a serve if you're going low carb and you're trying to reduce the calories of everything. So some of the way that I tried to reduce the calorie in this dish was when I cooked the mince, I drained the fat out, right? So if you missed that little section, I'll show you. When I drained the fat out of the 3-star beef mince, that's how much sort of fat I got there with that. So, you know, I don't want that in the main meal. So that's one way. And then, you know, we're introducing vegetables in there to, you know, add fibre, all the good stuff. Of course, as I lift the lid off in open cooking mode, it's still bubbling away here for me. Now, no good for you guys because you can't see what's in here, but I can tell you it's looking great. I can give you a little bit of a sneak peek, and but I'll let it go for a little bit more till it's cooked right through. It's always a good opportunity to do a bit of a taste test. The veggies aren't quite done yet. And in fact, you know, I could have put the veggies in with the meat sitting up the top. You know, as the meat was nearly done, I could have put the veggies in then because they would have got the steam at the high heat from, if they were even just sitting on top of the mince. All right. I think it's pretty good. I think the tomatoes are on the sourish side. I'm going in for a little bit more sugar. And I'll tell you which spatula I really like to use. I'm gonna give this one a retirement. Going to the retirement village, and I'm taking the Tavola out. And this one allows me to get in, down, and in to the base properly to stir evenly. So with open cooking, to get even heat distribution, you do need to manually stir. Of course, unless, only with the exception, if you are making a rice-based dish that requires absorption method where you need the lid on. So my sauce is pretty much nearly done. We're at temperature here. It's bubbling away like crazy. Let me see if I can show you. There it is. I might need to keep stirring this. I'm just, it's pretty much done. It's just letting it simmer for a little longer to allow those vegetables to soften up a little bit. So you're treating it pretty much like a pot on the stove, and the options are endless when it comes to what you can cook. So the other day I actually did a creamy pasta dish as well, following a similar method, absorption method kind of. Is this something that you would make with your Thermomix? Now this is quite a lot in here, so this is what, 2 litres worth that I've got going. The other thing too that what's helpful with the mince is that if you're not wanting to do a sauce but you just want to cook off the mince, you can do that like step 1 and have that alongside vegetables for your lunch or dinner, and that will provide you a low carb option. I've also been cooking some mince for my dogs too, my 2 Cocker Spaniels. They're a little bit too spoiled, but it's just so easy to just run it for, 10 minutes or thereabouts, depending on how much I have in there. Instead of me washing the bowl several times, I cook for everybody all in one hit. So when you purchase a Thermomix through me as your consultant, I will always do a delivery briefing for you where I will run through a lot of information with you to help you get started with your Thermomix. So that is, rest assured you will always get that from me, and then of course ongoing support as well. If you're not, if you don't have a consultant and you're looking for one, you're more than welcome to send me a text message, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have about the Thermomix. Of course, the latest offer at the moment is the trade-up offer. So there is some cashback, up to $750 cashback for some of the older models. So if that is you and you're thinking about it and you don't want to sort of sell your old Thermomix privately, then the cashback offer is probably, or the trade-up offer, is one that you could might like to consider. And yeah, but you need to connect with your consultant and let them know that's what you want to do. All I need is your email and phone number and name, and I'll get an order sent to your email, and then all you have to do is then, place your order, fix the payment up, and then from that point, you package up your old Thermomix in a box, and Thermomix sends you actually the shipping information. They give that to you in the email. You pop that on the box, take it to the post office. Post office handles it and sends it back to Thermomix head office. When the head office receives your Thermomix, they check it, and then they dispatch your TM7. And then I find out about it, that it's been dispatched. I let you know as well, and I connect with you to run your delivery briefing / session, onboarding session as I like to call it. Very easy. All right, now I think this pasta sauce is sort of done-ish. But for the purposes of this live demonstration, knowing that many of you perhaps want to actually go and not be in this live demonstration forever, I'm going to show you what it looks like without having to move this camera. All right, so you'll see what I mean. So because we've run open cooking mode, we're able to have lots of chunky vegetables in there, and they don't get squished up. You see? So there are my veggies. I try not to go for too many, only here and there. So that's it. Very, very easy. If you have any questions about this, about the Thermomix TM7, about the trade up or anything else, or you need help with your Thermomix, please reach out. And that was done. So 10, 10 and 2, I think I got it done in 25, maybe a bit longer since I started the live. Okay, so I think I did 10 minutes the browning of the meat, then I had 15, so 15, 25, and then I had 2 minutes. Okay, so there we go. Under 30 minutes, all right? Under 30 minutes bolognese. Of course, the time, if you want more simmering time, then you can go for a bit longer for the vegetables to cook right through. All right, thanks for joining, and have a great evening, and thanks for jumping on. Bye for now.